Sausage, anyone?
So, push-pull tube, elevator. So the elevator, obviously, goes to the elevator at the back. The elevator control, that's a push-pull tube, that aluminium 25mm tube goes down to the bottom, but it doesn't connect directly to the controls at the front. There's a link mechanism, because you can see there's an angle. We go down and then we go back up. So this is what I'm doing. They connect through this thing called the elevator idler arm, which is where a couple of ball joints will fit here. And this angle coming from my left downwards, it will hinge and push another control rod up in that direction. That's on the control stick. If you understood that, you can see requires another bronze bush. Oops. Bronze bush is going to be going in there, so no doubt a little bit of reaming. Why are your hands dirty? Oh, it's a barbecue, eh? Or what do they call it, a braai or something like that? I can't remember now in South Africa. But anyway, barbecue sounds a little bit girly now, doesn't it? It's a braai. Is it a braai? Well, anyway, bronze bush. Let's see if this bronze bush fits. No, completely doesn't. Not to be expected, because it needs reaming. So we'll have all sorts of paint in there. No doubt some weld splatter from the weld and a bit of deformation. So let me go and find the reamer again. Here we go then. The hand reamer. We'll ream this out and see how we go. Okay, so you see the bush is in. It actually turns freely, but I've got a slight concern, and that's none of the bush really looks like it's overhanging. Difficult to get focus. You know, you probably need at least 0.5 mm each side. Otherwise, you're going to get friction on here, and instead of it just rotating freely on this bushing. So just going to have a little bit of filing on one of these edges. So I've just filed the edges a slight bit, and then the acid test is a couple of washes each side, and you see that oh shit, couple of washes each side, and you can see that that rotates freely. Okay, so which is what we want. We kind of want that action. Okay, so even when it's tightened up, you still got nice free action of that. What do they call it? Mixer? I don't know. Oh, idler arm. So that's what we're looking for. Free movement of the idler arm. AC50 lubricant. Good stuff. Right, this is a typical problem. See, we've got another nylon bush. Can you see this? So this bush, when we finish banging around,
is for the push-pull rod that goes to the elevator to run through this guide here. Now the issue I've got is it's too big again, the fit's too tight. I've been reaming the inside out, or reaming it, flat wheeling it. It's taking a bit of time, but it's still very, very tight. So I've got to work on this, and maybe even take a little bit of this nylon off. So that's what I'm just working at. When that goes through, there's a circlip somewhere. Lost it already. There it is. Circlip there that will fasten on this end. Luckily I've got some circlip pliers. So that's what I'm just doing at the moment. This is the typical, a lot of the work is this kind of just fitting bushings and bearings. That's a lot of the work so far. Wow, we're back to sunshine. It's been phenomenal. Well, chubbies. Well, I got into trouble not so long back for posting a picture of my barbecue on one of the local groups that's occupied by a lot of South Africans, because that's where my aeroplane's from. And in South Africa, they call a barbecue a braai, I believe it's called. I think it's B-R-A-A-I, a braai. So I asked what a braai was, what the difference between that and a barbecue was, and they said, well, you know, barbecue's kind of burgers and sausage, but a braai, that was all this red meat, you know. And so I sent a picture of my barbecue that was full of red meat and everything, and I got into trouble because apparently a gas barbecue is not a braai. So I've had to go out and buy a barbecue, and it's going to be a bit mucky because I've used it already. But this is my braai, and I'm going to get some meat on it in a bit. Now the difference is, with the braai, no gas, charcoal. You see it's already been used, a bit filthy, but look, charcoal coals down below, leftover bread buns. All right, so I'm going to crack up the old braai in a bit. For you South African dudes, we can do it that way in the UK. Weather's like bloody South Africa at the moment. Look at this. Oh, dear. Hey, absolutely phenomenal. Fat Paramotor HQ. Don't be needing any of that firewood now, will we? This is phenomenal weather. Okay. Beauty, mate. The braai. Let's walk in from the braai into the aeroplane. Hey, what we doing? We're getting these rudder pedals flat wheeled out so they've got no resistance. Here we are. Look at this bench. That's what you call tidy working. Look at this. Do you know what this is? Well, I bought a load of gear off a mate recently. You remember Cliffy? I bought the Paramotor off him. Well, I didn't kind of buy it, but Steve left a load of stuff here. A load of diving equipment and things like that. And also a box full of camera stuff, which is spilling out all over the place. And he doesn't use the camera stuff anymore. It's all old and cheap. And there was an old drone and said to me, go, you can have all that electric stuff, I don't need it, find use for it. But if you send my diving stuff, which is in that box under there,
If you post it to me, you can have all the electrical stuff. So I said, all right, then I'll do that, Steve, and make do with some of the stuff. And there was this in it, and I thought this, because this came with a paramotor. Where is it? It's up there, look. To be done. I came with a paramotor, and I thought, oh, it's an airband transceiver, and so did Steve. But there was no power supply for it, so I went out and bought one. Brand new power supply. It was difficult because it has an unusual plug here. So I had to order one, got it working, and found out it's not an airband transceiver at all. It's 2 meter ham radio, which is okay because I've got a ham radio license, but I've already got 2 meter radios. So I was a bit disappointed. From the Braai, I'm going to burst it into life. See the mucky workshop, don't look, close your eyes. Alright, behind here, behind the rag bin, what have we got? Don't trip. Look at that. So, a bit filthy, but that's one of the projects I'm going to be getting going when I've finished with the first bit of the aeroplane. There's the paramotor hoop, and there's the frame. And there is the trike, which is not needed. You can fly it without the trike. That's a PAP. So when I've got the lion's share of this done, the fuselage bit, that's all I finished doing what I'm doing here, because I'm waiting for the covering kit. I'm going to make a start on the paramotor. I missed the paramotor weather again, but sometimes the summer's not the best weather for paramotors. Winters may be better, but we're going to get going with that. So anyway, Braai weather. Is it Braai? Braai weather. Aeroplanes, paramotors, ham radio. Oops, look. Ham radio aerial. Oh my goodness. What kind of geekery is that? Ah, there we go. So let me show you this then. Now, I've bolted, so I told you it was dry fitted. I've actually tightened these. I've ordered some 8mm non-nylock nuts just to test fit with. That's tightened up. Of course, aileron control is free. It just moves on these bushings. Pitch forward and aft, that's tight. So I've still got to do a bit more flat wheeling. I mean, there's a few things now adding to friction, and I've got to work my way through them carefully without over machining things. But these bushings are too tight. I know they're too tight. They were too tight before I actually connected these control rods. But let me show you the control rods. So that's the obviously the forward backwards movement. You can hear that grab. That push rod comes through to the back here, and you remember this unit, this little T, that's the idler, and you can see it pivots, and really it's just to join between here and this aluminium push-pull tube. Ignore that circlip dangling on there, that's because it's got to go on somewhere else in a little while. I'll just turn this, none of this is locked. That bolt's going to be in that upright position. Now the push-pull tube runs underneath, so it goes underneath here, underneath the luggage bay, and out to the back, and then it's connected to that horn on the elevator. And again, come closer, we have that typical ball joint assembly, fender washer on the outside, and that comes to the front. Now here there's there was a quick fix. That's a guide, not a fix. I mean, that's supposed to go there. That's the same nylon bushing as we've got on the pitch controller, and I think it just acts as a guide. Should you have a lot of forces, it just prevents this tube from bowing or flexing too much. What I don't like is, look, this bolts through here, so currently it's lifting up you know, the luggage bay door,
because the bolt heads that are here come round, the bolt heads stand proud. So I've got to do something about that. But the other thing that I don't like is, look, when this rear angle was put in, if you remember, I had an issue because there's a tab there, can you see, which I'm assuming that this angle was supposed to fasten to, but I had an issue because you can probably see the hole was higher than the angle, so that meant it would be sat up in the air, and I'd got everything flush to the tube, so I didn't use that. And the other problem was that tab is perpendicular, so if you look at it, but the actual angle, this whole luggage bay has a forward slant. I'll try and show you. It's difficult with the camera. It depends on what angle I hold the camera, but this slants from the rear of the aircraft forward, slants down, and then it slants up again. So if I actually use that tab, the bottom of here is at the wrong angle for the floor to sit flat, so I didn't use it. Now the issue I have with that, it might not be that, but this is just fastened with a rivet at either end, and there's just, to me, there's just a bit too much movement. Look, if I really press on that, that's no good, you know, because I just think if we really did want to guide this very sturdy push-pull tube, that's not going to guide it, I don't think, and I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I've got to strengthen this up, and I've ordered some P-clips, so I'm going to P-clip to this frame somewhere. Hopefully that then will make that more rigid. So showing the mechanism, ignore the binding, but push-pull tube, you can see now. That's the elevator, okay, that operates. Of course, there's the nylon bushing. That's where the Circlip's got to go. I'm not putting it on yet. I'll put it down there to remind me. That's actually fairly tight going through there, but I'm going to start by just flat wheeling out the front a little bit, and I might go to the back and just flat wheel the internal diameter of that bushing a little bit as well, because there might be a little bit of, oops, get the focus, might be a little bit of friction in there too. So that's where we are so far, and I think the next stages, most things are dry fitted. Next stages is really going to be sorting out free movements. Things are fitted, we're a little bit tight because I'd rather be under flat wheeled than over flat wheeled, but we're going to get to it. The same's happened with the rudders. These have been flat wheeled out, again, done a lot of flat wheeling. They fit nice and smooth. These rotate, particularly the left rudder. The right rudder is a bit tighter, but they're probably, I mean, they're not too bad. They're probably a little bit tight. I'd like to think that, you see, the problem with friction is it's feedback. So I'd like to think that if there's a bit of feedback from the rudder, if the rudder's pulling to the left, I'd like to feel it on my feet rather than this holding the rudder in the position that I've put it in. So it's getting that feedback back from the controls. I've not connected the rudder up yet. It's one of the next things I'm going to look at. That uses cable and pulleys. But I'm going to be doing that next, and I think that then finishes the dry fit, and then it's a matter of making sure everything then has full and free movement, and when I'm happy with all the controls, the next stage is we'll be moving on to covering, but I'm waiting for the covering kit to come, so stay tuned, as they say in YouTube land. Okay, so as you can see, so this is the bushing for the control sticks. I've bolted it together. This is the hole that needs flat wheeling out. I've kind of flat wheeled it before separately, but I'm going to strap it together and flat wheel it out like that. Hopefully we'll be more sure that it's concentric. The old drill.
and this being the action. So. Right then, so I have done a bit more work. That AC50 gets everywhere. It's all over my hands and the lot. It's like being a car mechanic. I've flat wheeled this out a lot more, both of them, particularly that edge, that one. Where am I pointing? That one there. That one was definitely the tightest, and we're all connected up back through the idler, push-pull rod to the elevator. And it's made a difference, because now it's like with the elevator, if I pull it back, the actual weight of the elevator now, there we go, I'm not pushing that forward. The weight of the elevator can take the control stick forward, so no friction on there, no friction left and right on the ailerons, so that's pretty good. There is still friction on those rudder pedals. That'll be one of the next jobs. So there we go. Connected up then, pitch control down that line to that idler, two connected, the push-pull tube, and connected on that little T pivot there. That's on a bushing, and push-pull tube goes to the back, goes through this bearing here. Now I've had a bit of a problem with that. I have just flat wheeled it out a little bit on the inside just to clean it up. It was binding slightly, but the Circlip that came with this, now, you know, I don't know, I have to question myself, but here it is. It's a 32mm internal diameter Circlip, or it was. But this is an external diameter of 36mm, and I do have Circlip pliers, and I just could not get this wide enough so that it would slip over the 36mm. I think 36 to 32 is too much for a Circlip, and it just distorted. You know, that's me just trying to open it with the Circlip pliers, and it just did that funny twisty thing. And I couldn't get it on, and it damaged it. So, and that's using the proper tools. So I think the Circlips are wrong size, and so what I have done is I've ordered, this is a 36mm external diameter, I've ordered a Circlip for a 36mm tube diameter, and that should hopefully come tomorrow or the day after. But this moves, the assembly moves through there. You see it's a bit shiny. That's got the AC50 on it, goes all the way to the back and connects on that horn up there with another one of those ball joints. And you'll see, I've got to come back, let me back up so I can get to the pitch control. There we go. Alright, pitch up, pitch down, super. Alright, and there's the ailerons, left and right. Yeah. Okay, so that's today. So a bit of fiddling, just getting things fitted right, getting things so that they're moving freely. That's important. Full and free movement of the controls. Okay, so I'll be starting on the rudders next, but now it's pretty late at night. I think I'm going to go in. Going in. Right then, chubsters. Speak to you soon. Sorry, you've missed it. You've missed the Braai. Just the last bits left now, really, that nobody wanted. You've missed it, it's finished. You can have these if you want. Turn them over. Oh, sticky kebabs. Hang on. There we go. I'll put these up here actually, because I can't be asked to sit watching it now. I'll just let them oven cook up here. There you go, you missed the braai. Barbecue. I've got a bit of setting up to do with the controls. You know, things have got to be set to the right length and the right angle, so there's a bit of adjustment. We'll do that in another video. Once that's all set up and I'm happy, we'll be nylocking things into place with a little bit of stud lock or thread lock. When that's done, we'll get the engineer back to make sure everything's okay before we start covering. So I'm not allowed to cover anything until Jerry's been able to inspect it and be able to tick it off from the book. So that brings me to the book. So look what came through the post. A couple of other things. So this is the book, and in here, there's a set of instructions on what you have to do and all the sign-offs and things like that. For the aircraft, you can see already stamped that the first inspection has happened, and that's why I tidied the workshop. It's got a bit untidy again. Jerry Cooper, who's the engineer, had to come round and inspect the workshop, make sure that it was suitable, waterproof, etc. for building an aeroplane. He was happy with the workshop, thought it was fine, thought there was a fair amount of room, to be honest with you. I think it's quite tight, but I think he's got more experience. I guess he's used to building aircraft maybe in smaller places, I don't know, but he was happy, so I'm happy. That's the build manual. So I was really pleased that that's turned up. So it's an official project with the LAA, Light Aviation Association, has a project number, but not only has it project number, which is here, we now have an aircraft registration, Golf Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Sierra, and that came, there's a certificate. You can probably see that. Well, you just see my name, and I wonder if that's focusing, because I get my eyes out. It'll not focus if it sees a face. We're not in product display mode this time. So we've got Golf Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Sierra for Golf. That's Great Britain, of course, or that's the prefix for all our aircraft, and then Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Sierra, and that's KFA Safari, if you hadn't kind of got it earlier on. So I was quite pleased to get that. It's an out of sequence registration. I was quite pleased to get that. There we go. I'm looking forward to when we get the covering on and I can start putting the decals on. That'll be really exciting. But there we go. We've got an aircraft registration, we've got a build book, we've got an engineer that's assigned to the build, and as soon as we get all these nylocks put on and everything set up to the correct position, he's going to come in and do some more inspection. He has to bring a plumb bob as well. I think he's got to make sure a lot of these weldments are correct, but I'm sure they are. This was welded up in a jig, but still has to do it, has to be signed off, and I am appreciative of that, because I have got to get in this and fly it, and I will be flying it with friends and family. So for my own peace of mind, I want to make sure that somebody with the credentials that Jerry's got has been over it and is happy. If he's happy, I'm happy. Anyway, that's where we are. We'll bash out another video. Thanks once again for watching. Please do hit that subscribe button. There has been a small boost of subscribers, so I'm very pleased. I've seen the channel is just starting to slowly grow again. It's been on standstill for quite a while with no particular growth, not a great deal of interaction, but now it's starting to grow again, and I'm pleased about that, pleased about the growth in subscribership. So thank you for hitting the subscribe button. Welcome along with the journey. Don't forget, click the bell icon though, you'll get notifications then when I make another video.
leave me a comment down below. I do like to answer most of the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't, don't care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.